Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, this is Philosophossum. So the video I'm looking at today is a bit of a short one, but I still feel it's interesting to talk about. So as I'm sure most of you are aware, because of this whole pandemic going on, a lot of businesses, whether required by law or to their own accord, are implementing rules saying that customers have to wear a mask in order to enter the premises. Costco being one of such stores. Now of course a lot of people are unhappy about being forced to wear masks inside of public places and are refusing to do so, which results in confrontations usually. So in the video you're about to see, you'll see that there's a Costco employee addressing a customer who is refusing to wear a mask in compliance with the company's policy. The customer continues to refuse to comply, and this confrontation ultimately results in the Costco employee grabbing the customer's cart and walking off with it. Let's take a look, shall we?
I'll just put you on my 3,000 follower Instagram feed.
Really, dude? You're intimidating this guy by telling him you're going to show this to your whole Instagram feed? Now, if he said Twitter, that would have been intimidating. Then that Costco employee may need to make sure he chooses his next words carefully. But seriously, dude, Instagram, the type of people who use that platform probably aren't the most politically concerned. I mean, even like Tumblr or Reddit, I'd understand, but really, dude, you're trying to intimidate someone with fucking Instagram?
Mostly locals.
Hi everyone, I work for Costco and I'm asking this member to put on a mask because that is our company policy.
You gotta love how clever this Costco employee is being. Like, he's turning the tables on him by letting his social media followers know, hey, this guy's being a dipshit and not complying with the rules. Ah shit, he just took all the thunder out of your little threat there, buddy.
So either wear the mask
And I'm not doing it because I woke up in a free country.
Well, yes, it is a free country, but as of right now, you're inside of a privately owned business. Even in free countries, there may be additional rules you need to follow depending on what establishment you're in. In fact, one of the things that makes free countries free is property rights, the right of an owner to dictate what the conditions are for other people using that property.
Have a great day.
So you're going to take this cart from me?
Sir, have a great
Full
day.
of stuff.
Yes, he is going to take your cart full of stuff away from you. You were informed of what the conditions of doing business at that establishment were, and you chose to ignore them. If you don't adhere to the conditions of doing business, then people don't do business with you. That's kind of how that works. Me personally, I'm not exactly a fan of having to wear a mask everywhere I go. I think it's a huge pain in the ass, but I understand that these are private businesses. I'm not entitled to doing business with them, and if they have certain conditions that I have to follow in order to do business there, then I have to follow those conditions. If you're that pissed off about having to wear a mask in Costco, don't shop at Costco. Shop somewhere else that doesn't require you to wear a mask. Like fucking Walmart. I mean, if there was ever a store that did not give a rat's ass what you wear in it, it would be Walmart.
No longer welcome here in our warehouse. You need to leave. Thank you very much.
Here, you put it on. I'll give you my card. He's going to take the card away because he's a...
I did get this clip from ABC News, so obviously this gentleman's use of any vulgar insults had to be silenced.
There he is, walking away with all my stuff.
Well, strictly speaking, it's not your stuff, it's the store's stuff. It doesn't become your stuff until you actually pay for it.
There he goes.
So what are my final thoughts on this? Obviously, I believe this gentleman is in the wrong here. I mean, it would be different if he was on his own property and someone was trying to force him to wear a mask. In that case, I would be on this gentleman's side. I would say, hey, he's on his own property, he's not hurting anybody, leave him alone. But in this instance, he's on somebody else's property, doing business on somebody else's terms. In that case, things are kind of different. Because Costco owns the store and also all the things in the store, they have a right to say, we're not going to do business with you unless you wear a mask. Now, of course, I do have to address the big elephant in the room, and that is, a lot of these places are forcing their customers to wear masks, not necessarily because they've decided to, but because the government has basically forced them to. I believe this is wrong as well. In fact, I'd argue that what the government is doing and what this guy is doing are both morally equivalent. This is similar to a common argument I use against the legal drinking age. For those of you who don't know, I advocate for abolishing the drinking age, not just lowering it. I think 18 is just as arbitrary as 21. I think the drinking age should be abolished, done away with, and here's why. Imagine that a 19-year-old walks into a bar with a gun, holds the bartender up at gunpoint and says, serve me beer or I'll shoot you. Is what he's doing wrong? Most people would agree, yes, that's wrong. Well, the government is essentially doing the same thing when they implement the drinking age. Instead of pointing a gun and saying, serve the 19-year-old, they're pointing a gun and saying, don't serve anyone under 21. So from a logical and moral standpoint, there's really no difference between what the government's doing and what the 19-year-old would be doing in that scenario. The terms at which the bar owner can run his own business are being curtailed at the threat of violence. The reason people perceive it as wrong when the 19-year-old does it and not the government is because the 19-year-old doesn't have a badge or uniform or magic papers. I think an analogous argument would apply to this case. I believe that this gentleman is in the wrong, but I also believe the government is equally in the wrong, because neither of them are respecting the business owner's right to set the terms on which they do business. Only difference is that this customer here doesn't have a magic badge or magic paper or fancy suits or whatever. So now I'm curious, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you think what the customer did was right or wrong? How about the Costco employee? If you were in that employee's position, would you have handled it differently? And what do you think of the government forcing people to wear masks in public buildings? Hope you enjoyed the video and hope everyone stays safe during these troubling times. This has been Philosophossum, making stupidity play dead. Have a good one.